Tucker Carlson just delivered a stunning takedown of woke culture that left the audience in awe. With razor-sharp wit and unfiltered commentary, he exposed the absurdities of political correctness, igniting a firestorm of reactions. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on this one. Tucker Carlson stands out as a leading voice against the poison of wokeism, fearlessly defending American values and freedom of speech. With his incisive commentary, he exposes the dangers of political correctness and the radical ideologies threatening our society. Carlson champions the importance of traditional values, advocating for open dialogue and the preservation of individual liberties. His unwavering commitment to truth and common sense resonates with millions, making him a powerful advocate for those who feel their voices are silenced in today's cultural climate. Carlson's influence continues to shape the national conversation on critical issues. Let's take a look at some of the times Carlson proved himself to be a hero of conservatives. Attacking critical race theory. In a chapter of Ship of Fools titled The Diversity Diversion, Carlson maintained that white men are accused of causing poor nutrition, asthma, and broken families in black neighborhoods, of destroying entire cities very few of them have ever been to, and, in their spare time, exacerbating global warming. Carlson cataloged what he called a series of efforts by black people to blame whites for their economic and social conditions.
You were before the economic crisis of 2008, you probably live here in New York or LA, and you have a certain worldview. If you're not, which is the rest of the country, you probably see.
He insisted that elites no longer oppose segregation. They no longer insist on treating all races equally. Many instead call for segregation. As Carlson told it, you no longer hear much from our leaders about the importance of racial harmony. Almost nobody claims we're really all the same beneath the skin. The emphasis is on our differences. That's the essence of the diversity agenda. He wrote that the narrative was clear. Buried in the heart of every white person is a vial of deadly poison called racism. There is no remedy for this. Whites are born with hate built in. Carlson, who grew up about 30 miles from the Mexican border, also described in his book his own discomfort with how the country was changing. If you grew up in America, suddenly nothing looks the same, he wrote. Your neighbors are different. So is the landscape and the customs, and very often the languages you hear on the street. You may not recognize your hometown. Human beings aren't wired for that. They can't digest change at this pace. Then Carlson was even more direct. He objected to the idea that we must celebrate the fact that a nation that was overwhelmingly European, Christian, and English-speaking 50 years ago is now a mix of cultures. He rejected the idea that diversity is to be valued, saying that mass immigration has destabilized the country. He also said it was unfair, that expressing his views meant you'll be shouted down as a bigot, as if demanding representation in a democracy were immoral. At another point of his life, Carlson complained about feminists. "I don't like the feminist crap," Carlson said, on a recording later made public by the liberal group Media Matters for America.
But if you looked closely at the women we were celebrating, you may have noticed a lot of them weren't actually women. They were lumpy-looking dudes.
I hate that. And that's one of the reasons I despise the Democrats, because they're always rolling that crap out. Well, you don't like him because he's black. You don't like her because she's a woman. Oh, shut the F up. Claims FBI role in insurrection. On January 5, 2021, Carlson ridiculed Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, R-Chi, for saying a year prior that the officers involved in Floyd's death looked pretty darn guilty. McConnell had expressed empathy for black Americans, saying that for millions of people, the killing of Floyd and another victim of police violence do not appear as isolated incidents, but as the latest disturbing chapters in our long, unfinished American struggle to ensure that equal justice under law is not conditional on the color of one's skin. Carlson, embracing Trump's election claims, said McConnell didn't bother holding hearings on election integrity or mail-in balloting.
So that's my reaction to it. It was a mistake, in my view, for Fox News to depict this in a way.
Instead, McConnell was busy attacking police officers and eulogizing George Floyd, Carlson said. Remember him? St. George, the convicted violent felon who apparently died of a drug OD, a fentanyl OD in Minneapolis? Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin was convicted in April of murdering Floyd. Then, after months of seeking to dispute reports about the role of white nationalists in the January 6 insurrection, Carlson made the astonishing claim that FBI operatives were organizing the attack on the Capitol. He said this was spelled out in court documents that mentioned the involvement of unindicted co-conspirators, who Carlson surmised were undercover agents from the FBI. So it turns out that this white supremacist insurrection was, again, by the government's own admission in these documents, cult indoctrination to promote the idea of systemic racism in the U.S., alleging that critical race theory had become the default ideology within the federal bureaucracy. Rufo's claims reached President Trump, who tweeted that critical race theory was a sickness and soon issued a memo banning federal funding for related training. Trump signed an executive order on September 2020 prohibiting sensitivity training seminars on critical race theory, an action Rufo credited to Carlson's influence. However, President Biden rescinded the order on his first day in office, advocating for understanding and truth. Carlson and his Fox News colleagues have spent considerable time asserting that Democrats are using critical race theory to sow racial divisions, urging viewers to challenge it at local school boards. Carlson highlighted the children's book, Not My Idea, a book about whiteness, which aims to educate kids about racism. Alana Fishbein, a guest on Carlson's show, claimed that after her appearance, her organization, No Left Turn in Education, saw its Facebook page views surge from 200 to over 1 million. Carlson has also targeted Ibram X. Kendi, author of How to Be an Anti-Racist, which was recommended by the U.S. Navy. During a March 9, 2021 episode, Carlson questioned how Kendi's book ended up on the Navy's reading list, with Reppers Jim Banks vowing to investigate. Carlson did not disclose that his son is Banks's press spokesman. 2 months later, Carlson aired a video of Banks interrogating a Navy official about Kendi's work, alleging that Kendi promotes racism. The role of white rage. In 2021, TuckerCarlson frequently showcased videos of parents confronting school board members over critical race theory, inviting many of them onto his show. This coincided with efforts by Republican-controlled legislatures and local school boards to ban the teaching of critical race theory and related topics. While it's difficult to quantify the impact of Carlson's programming on these actions, his views have resonated with an increasing number of Republicans. During one segment, Carlson highlighted a sign reading, "Anti-White Mania," and asserted that the country cannot thrive if certain groups are labeled as inherently oppressed. He dismissed the term as meaningless, instead claiming that the real issue is race hate, which he believes is propagated by those in power to enhance their authority. Carlson accused the highest levels of government of spreading this race hate. He cited General Mark A. Milley, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, who, during a congressional committee hearing, expressed a desire to understand the role of white rage in the Capitol riots. Carlson mocked Milley, calling him stupid for suggesting that studying racism is essential for military leadership. This highlights Carlson's long-standing narrative that positions whites as victims of discrimination, reflecting his controversial stance in the ongoing national discourse. Tucker on religion. On One Bubba Show on March 21, 2006, Carlson seemed to foreshadow Trump's candidacy. He said that Republicans could no longer claim to be the party of fiscal restraint, so the only way a party member could be elected president was to villainize Muslims. Who's going to protect the country against, the Muslim lunatics who want to hurt us is the only thing the Republicans have left. Carlson said a successful candidate would have to say, in effect, look, I'm a bigot. Okay, I'm a bigot. I don't like Islamic extremists. Like, if you are really heavily into Islam, I'm sorry, I don't care for you that much. And I don't care what that sounds like. You can call me a racist. You can call me whatever you want. He said, I'd vote for you if you said that. And I think that most Americans would. A radio co-host then said, so basically, we need a racist president. We need to get these Mexicans out of here and the Islam. Let's kill all the Muslims. Carlson responded, I think that you're onto something. I mean, not someone who's like a Klansman or anything, but someone who's totally unbound by politically correct rules, who will just say whatever the hell he wants. That guy's going to get elected. Tucker Carlson remains a conservative hero, boldly championing the values that define America. His relentless defense of free speech and traditional principles resonates with many, inspiring a movement to reclaim the narrative from the grip of wokeism and advocate for a future grounded in truth and individual liberties.